You can also import opening transactions from Excel by using Rapid Start services. So let me show you how this works. And I've done some preparation, so let me show you. I've created some new fixed assets, a conveyor belt, a conveyor lift, and a conveyor computer. So the scenario is similar to the one of the cooling unit from the previous lesson. So this means that these are already existing assets that the company purchased in the past and from which we already have the values in the general ledger, but now should post opening transactions to the fixed asset ledger. So for each of these assets, we should post an acquisition cost line and a depreciation line. All right. Now, instead of doing this manually like in the previous example, I will now use Rapid Start services. And that's, of course, very interesting in case that you have to post opening transactions for multiple assets at the same time. In real life, probably not only 3, but maybe 30 or 300 or even 3,000, as many as you want. Okay, the first thing that we need to do is create a configuration package or add a line to an existing configuration package. That's of course also possible, but in this case I will create a new one and I will call this one migration. So let me use this as code and name, so migration. And then we need to add the fixed asset journal line table. Now this is table ID 5621. So I already looked it up, so you can also look it up in the list if you want, but you can also just enter 5621. All right, there we go. So the next thing that we need to do is export to Excel. So we should export our template to Excel. So, and this is, by the way, based on the fields that are enabled. So if I click here on table and if I go to fields, so you can see all the included fields, and I will just leave it like it is. So in real life, you could go ahead and disable the fields that you don't need. But for this example, let's just include everything. So next, I can export a template to Excel, which will create an Excel file in which we can paste our opening transactions. So let's give it a few seconds. So in here you can see the Excel file, so with all the different columns. Currently we don't have any information there, of course, because we don't have any fixed asset journal lines. But now we can go and copy paste the information in Excel. So this is something I already prepared. So in here you can see an example of, with information, so with the data for my 3 fixed assets. So you can see the numbers 170, 180 and 190. And you can see that I created 2 lines for each asset. So an acquisition cost line and a depreciation line, as you can see here. Here you can see the amounts. Again, these are just examples. You can set up whatever you want. But it should be similar to this. Now, if you're doing this for the first time, what helps is that you first enter a fixed asset journal line manually in Business Central before you export the template to Excel. Because in that way, you can see all the fields that are filled that you need to enter in Excel. So this is something that could help sometimes. All right, so this is everything that we need. I see that equipment is missing here, so let me add equipment and then save the file. And let's return to Business Central. All right, so here in Business Central, in my configuration package, I can click on Excel and then import from Excel. Next, I can go and choose the file. So when this is done, you will see that everything is being prepared for the import. So here you can see the table, and now I can select import here at the top. And everything is imported. So this is going very fast because there are only 6 records, of course. So let's check the package records. So here you can see all the information like the template name, the line numbers, the depreciation book code, and so on. So if you would have errors, then this is something that you could tell by looking here at the invalid field. But because in my case these fields are not selected, it means that Business Central didn't run into any errors. So now I can select all lines. There we go. And I can apply the data. Now, applying data means that Business Central will apply the data to the table that you see here in the configuration package. So in this example, the fixed asset journal line table. So this means that if I now open the fixed asset journals, I can now see the 6 lines. So there we go. So with the different posting dates, with the fixed asset numbers, with the amounts. So again, you can double check everything once more if you want. And next you can post. So let me now post these lines. All right. So in here you can see now an error. So this is something that I also overlooked, but sometimes getting these errors is very interesting in a course because you can learn from them. So in here, what I forgot, what I didn't forget in my first example, but what I didn't think of here is to disable the GL integration. Remember, so I'm still working with the company depreciation book, but my GL integration is still enabled. So I should go to the depreciation book, open the card, and then, just as in my first example, disable GL integration for the acquisition cost and depreciations. So let me return to the fixed asset journal and try to post again. And now you see everything is posted. I will return to the depreciation book to enable GL integration again. There we go. And let's now double check the results, of course, on the fixed asset cards. So let me open, for example, the conveyor belt. You can see now that the conveyor belt has a book value. The same for the conveyor lift and also for the conveyor computer. So this is how you can import opening transactions from Excel, which is, of course, very interesting when you have to post opening transactions for multiple assets at the same time.